Yule. This is a pagan festival that happens on or around the 21st of December, celebrating the return of the light, and lasts 12 days. It starts with the winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year. The traditions of this festival is about welcoming the return of the light and embracing the coziness of winter. Activities include celebrating with family and friends, decorating the Yule tree or altar. Some of the decorations that you can use are evergreens, holly and ivy, oranges, and other natural materials. Some even have a Yule log. It's a time of reflection and looking forward to the brighter days. When I think back about Yule and Christmas, because I celebrate them both, I think about my childhood and how they were the greatest times of the year, where I spent them with family that would come down and stay for a week or two at a time. They were from my Bohemian side of the family, my mother's, and truly the one time of year in my childhood that I remember that was always special. Nothing bad ever happened. The bad Christmases and this time of year happened later in my life, and I didn't appreciate this time of year until I got much older, and I have good and bad memories of this holiday, which for many years I completely avoided until I went to jail. And let me tell you that if you don't like the Christmas season or the Yule season, go to jail and it'll change your perspective. After going to jail, I realized just how precious this time of year truly is. Another dark holiday that I went through this time of year was when I had split up from my marriage, my first marriage, and everybody was with their family except me. I was alone in the apartment I shared with a friend who was gone with their family for the week. I remember I held out as long as I could not to cry, and I made it till dark. And once it got dark, I just began to cry so hard, and I begged the gods to never ever let me be alone again. A week later, I found out I wasn't alone that day. I was pregnant with my son, and I've never been alone since. That was 23 years ago. Everything is so much different today. And as I celebrate this Yule and all the beautiful blessings that sobriety has brought me, the special memory of today is the tree topper to our tree. But wait a minute, you don't know about this. Let me explain. We're going to have to go back a little bit to get to the beginning of this. It started several years ago when I did some healing through art, and I did this painting, and the technique is that you highlighted what you saw in the shadows of the paint. And I saw this beautiful white peacock. I had no idea that there even was a white peacock. So I went and I searched and I found what it meant. The white peacock is a symbol of purity, rebirth, spiritual awakening, and the divine self. In many cultures, the white peacock is seen as a symbol of the divine, signifying a connection to a higher power of the purest aspect of oneself. A week later, after I saw this white peacock, I saw a friend of mine who had posted a video with him by a white peacock. And that was the second time that I saw one at that time, and I knew it wasn't a coincidence. So when I started my website, I knew I wanted a white peacock in the logo, but I also wanted a part of me and my son Anthony in it too. So we put a full moon in as a C to represent Christine, and the star to represent an A for Anthony. And that, with the peacock for the divine, became our logo for an old friend studio, my website. Everything came together divinely. But before I show you our Yule tree and my altar, let's get our magical Yule craft out of the way. Let me start off by saying that I was swamped with orders this year, and usually I have all of the Yule footage done before my sponsor comes, and we usually do the craft last, but it wound up being the first thing that we did because this is how my place looked. And let me just tell you, it was a hot mess. So I had to come up with something quick, and I didn't have any help from that lazy bastard over there, so I had to think quick. So I turned on my favorite YouTuber, and I got to work cleaning up this mess so that when she came, we actually had room to do something. And I had to come up with an idea quick. And so it came to mind about a wreath that I had ordered several months ago. And I decided that we were going to do a protection wreath for Yule. It fit. The wreath, Yule, it all fit. I knew I had everything in the house, so I grabbed some natural materials, the wreaths, some crystals, and I had some charms, some E6000, and some string. And it was festive string, too. When I think about protection, I think about the pentagram and how the star is a sign of protection for pagans and witches. And so I knew that I wanted to put that in the center of my wreath. Now, my sponsor, who I now call my muse because everything she comes up with is something that I wind up either putting in my shop or living by. And she came up with a different protection symbol, and I'm kind of jealous, again, that she came up with something better than me. Not that I'm saying anything bad about the pentagram, but hers was pretty cool. So we pulled out some crystals too, and I decided that I wanted to decorate my wreath with the crystals to make it look like, Christmas baubles. And then my sponsor showed me what her protection symbol was. And it just happens to be the symbol for our 12-step group that we are in. And she even put a key in the middle. Oh, God, she's so good. She is totally my muse, and I'm totally going to put some of those in the shop. What a great idea that was. Honestly, Laura has been the catalyst for everything that I have accomplished the last 8 years, and that includes my business and my YouTube channel and getting together every month, and now this beautiful protection symbol that I am going to definitely be making, one for me and some for the shop. We talked a lot about how well my business did this year and the fact that I was really fearful because I cannot forget where all this came from, and I can't lose sight of the important things. And she was very helpful with that, like always. And while I do and will celebrate what has happened this year, I am also going to remember that the greatest gift that I've been given this year has been my sobriety, and none of this would have happened without it. And we can't forget that. And we do in sobriety. It's not the bad moments that take us out of here. It's the good ones. And we forget how bad things really were. And that is something that has stuck with me as I've watched and experienced it the last 8 years. I feel like this time of year amplifies our emotions, whether they're good or bad. And it's what we do with it that's most important, and how we handle our emotions during this time. Which brings me to our Yule spell. Because of my time constraint, I ended up killing two birds with one stone and making some Yule gifts at the same time as sharing one of the spells. And this spell was inspired by a Christmas gift that Laura had given me a couple years ago. And what she gave me was one wish, and she would grant it for me, and I had to come up with the idea of what I wanted that wish to be. Now, I'm not financially capable of fulfilling people's financial wishes, and there's some wishes that I probably can't. But what I did is I got a hold of a couple of people that I'm making gifts for and asked them what their wish was for 2025. And they gave me the answer, and I decided to make this gift. Now, because I have a particular set of skills, I was able to make some wish candles for people. I also made some ancestor candles at Samhain that I am going to be giving away as gifts as well. But let's talk about this wish spell. What you're going to need are the herbs for what it is that they are requesting. And what I'm going to show you here is someone who asked for a prosperity spell. And I put some pine and some orange peel and other herbs and crystals that correspond with the magical properties of prosperity. And if you don't know what they are, you can always Google them. So I took a tea light candle and I etched in different rune symbols that correspond with prosperity and put that in the candle first. And I put them all around the candle. And I mixed up all the herbs, and then I took them and took a couple of crystals and I placed them on top of this candle. Now you can use any candle. And then I took another candle and I poured wax on top of it to seal everything in, and did my own family ritual that corresponds with having a wish granted. And there you have it. And it's with these I used a tea light, and it's small, but they last a very long time. Now, on some of these, I used oils, and I also played a song that represented what they wanted or them as I did the mixing of the herbs. Now, music, magic is amazing, and it's probably the most powerful, and I use it a lot in my magic. It brings up a lot of emotion, and it brings up a lot of love, depending on the song, which you have to be careful because there's a lot of energy in that. And then I played that while I mixed up the herbs and while I put the herbs on top of the tea light. And then I sealed it with a candle wax. Now, I didn't share my family enchantment, but making an enchantment yourself is more powerful than if you took my family's. And so make up something that goes with the spell that you are creating, or use the song and sing the song while you're creating something that will match what you want to give to the other person. And believe me, that's much more powerful than anything that I would be giving you. If you have any leftover herbs that you mixed for that spell, put that in with the gift and they can put their candle on top of it. You don't want to share those herbs with anybody. But remember, the most important thing is your intent, not the actual things that you're using. Those are props and tools. And don't forget to do a safety clause with every spell. If you don't know what that is, go and sign up for our newsletter at our website, An Old Friend Studio, and I'll be sharing that this next month. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for future videos. And here is my altar and my tree finished. Have a blessed Yule, and stay blessed always, sweet souls.